Good day to all our viewers following the international weather forecast news. Today, we meet again in a very special context of September, the month that is traditionally considered the peak of tropical cyclone season in both the Atlantic and the Pacific. Yet, the global weather map currently shows striking contrasts. On one side, an unusual calm over tropical waters; on the other, thick smoke, heat, and unstable weather gripping large portions of Canada. In today's bulletin, we will bring you a detailed and comprehensive look at two focal points, the Caribbean and Central America, where tropical waves continue to bring heavy rainfall with risks of flooding, and Canada, a nation simultaneously facing wildfire smoke, heat in the west, and bands of rain advancing toward the east. We begin in the Caribbean and Central America, where several tropical waves from the Atlantic are pushing into the region. Convective cloud bands with thunderstorms have spread over Antigua, Barbuda, Anguilla, Saint Martin, Saint Barts, and the Virgin Islands. Although these systems do not yet show clear signs of developing into a tropical depression or storm in the short term, they are already capable of producing heavy rains, raising the risk of flooding across low-lying islands. Residents here often feel reassured when hearing, "No storm is present." But in reality, one does not need a named storm for significant damage to occur. Prolonged rainfall alone can be destructive, particularly where drainage systems remain limited. And it doesn't stop at the northeastern islands of the Caribbean. Showers and thunderstorms are also spreading to a much wider area, from Cuba, Jamaica, Haiti, Dominica, and Puerto Rico, stretching down to the Gulf of Honduras and across Guatemala, Belize, and El Salvador. All lie within the influence zone. Forecast models suggest rainfall totals in many areas could reach 100 to 150 millimeters over the coming days. Given the steep terrain, such rainfall is more than enough to trigger flash floods, landslides, and localized inundation. Small river valleys and mountain slopes are particularly vulnerable. Local governments and residents are urged to stay alert and prepare precautionary measures to minimize losses. The primary driver behind this heavy rainfall is the sequence of tropical waves entering a highly moist atmospheric environment, interacting with sea surface waters that are unusually warm. Current observations show ocean temperatures across the Caribbean, Gulf of Mexico, and the entire tropical Atlantic are above average, in some areas reaching 31 degrees Celsius, roughly 90 degrees Fahrenheit. This is critical because warm water is the fuel that powers tropical cyclones. At the moment, the saving grace is the presence of dry, stable air layers aloft, which are capping storm development. As a result, over the next 5 to 7 days, no significant tropical storm formation is expected in the Atlantic. However, the story may shift dramatically by mid to late September. Forecasts indicate that dry air will diminish, atmospheric moisture will increase, and when combined with extremely warm seas, the risk of strong storms will rise considerably. Experts warn that the current calm is only temporary. From the second half of September into October, the season could enter its most active and dangerous phase. Residents of at-risk regions must follow updates closely and avoid complacency. Over in the Pacific, Tropical Storm Kiko has weakened quickly as it moved north of the Hawaiian Islands. Once closely monitored, Kiko has now dropped in intensity to near a low-pressure system, with maximum winds around 80 km per hour. While it spared Hawaii's main islands from direct impacts, the storm still generated high surf and gusty winds across northern waters. Cautioning vessels in transit, Kiko's swift decline highlights the powerful role of upper-level wind shear in tearing apart a storm structure, a fortunate outcome for Hawaii this time. Turning to Canada, the weather picture is equally dynamic and regionally divided. In the west, particularly British Columbia, residents continue to cope with thick wildfire smoke. Images from Vancouver on September 5 showed a gray sky and poor visibility. Beyond the smoke, dry thunderstorm potential looms in BC and the foothills of Alberta. Communities such as Kamloops, Kelowna, and Revelstoke face the risk of lightning strikes with little or no rain, heightening fire spread danger. Calgary and even Edmonton may also experience thunderstorms. Adding further complexity, Alberta remains hot, while Saskatchewan and Manitoba see slightly more moderate conditions, though the hot air mass is expected to drift eastward in coming days. Across the prairie provinces, heat remains the dominant theme. Manitoba has not yet felt the worst of it today, but by tomorrow, as the edge of Alberta's hot air mass expands eastward, the region will begin experiencing hotter days. This signals that, despite the passing of Labor Day, summer has not truly ended. At least a few more weeks of warmth are still ahead. In contrast, eastern Canada is enjoying much more pleasant conditions. Ontario and Quebec, after a cool, autumn-like weekend, are now seeing sunny days with highs of 20 to 23 degrees Celsius. Toronto, currently hosting the Toronto International Film Festival, TIFF, is enjoying ideal weather that benefits outdoor events. Yet this spell won't last long. A rain system is forming and expected to sweep from Thunder Bay through Quebec between Monday night and Wednesday. Rainfall totals are forecast between 20 and 75 millimeters, heavier near lake shores and waterways. Even so, overall temperatures in the east remain comfortable, neither too hot nor too cold, favoring daily activities. Finally, in Atlantic Canada, a rain system passed overnight Sunday, clearing skies over Nova Scotia and Newfoundland. Residents can enjoy a stretch of sunny days, though another system is projected to arrive midweek, spreading showers once again. Temperatures across the Atlantic coast remain seasonal, not excessively hot or cold. Particularly noteworthy, St. John's may set a new record for the number of days reaching 20 degrees Celsius or higher, a rare milestone in its meteorological history. In summary, the global weather picture at the start of September is one of contrasts. In the Caribbean and Central America, tropical waves, though not yet developing into storms, are still producing heavy rainfall with flooding potential. Exceptionally warm ocean temperatures suggest that the hurricane season is far from over. In fact, it may intensify in the latter half of September and into October. Meanwhile, Canada is marked by sharp contrasts, the West shrouded in smoke and wildfire risk, the prairies bracing for expanding heat, the East enjoying a brief spell of fair weather before rain returns, and the Atlantic coast alternating between sunny breaks and midweek showers. Ladies and gentlemen, those are the most notable highlights in today's International Weather Forecast News Bulletin. Wherever you are, stay tuned to weather updates to plan your work and daily life accordingly. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share for the latest information. Wishing you a peaceful and fortunate day ahead.